Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. So what I have set up here is a rifle ammunition penetration test. So I have some 7.62 by 39, some 7.62 by 54R, some varying 223, 5.56 spec ammunitions, and then also a little bit of 22 long rifle over there, just for kind of comparison's sake. So we'll be shooting a variety of these rounds into about 7 or 8 inches of plywood, and we'll be seeing how well they punch through that, how well they whether they break apart right away or whether they punch through, if they tumble, whatever. And we'll just try to see what we can find out here. A lot of people really think that the 7.62 by 39, or in other words the AK-47 round, really penetrates a lot better than the 223. Let's see if that's true. Honestly, I'm kind of curious to see what the results of this are. So I'll introduce the players here real quickly. This is just a Winchester 40 grain 22 long rifle, 1,300 feet per second. It's just, representative of a good high quality 22 round. Next up is just some 55 grain Tula ammunition, 223 spec. This is just a really good affordable round that I shoot a lot of for practice. So I'm curious to see what that does. Next up from there is going to be this Hornady 55 grain varmint round, V-max. And so this is just a good, coyote round or something like that. And it has that red polymer tip on there. And so this is a round that's really designed to break apart very quickly. I use it for home defense because I want something that's going to break apart quickly, not something that's going to go through a bunch of walls into my neighbor's house or something. So that should be a round that actually doesn't penetrate very much purposefully. We're also going to test this x-tac by PMC. This is a 62 grain x-tac. It's a steel core. So what that steel core does, it's not an armor penetrating round, but what that's going to do for us is that normally on like a full metal jacket like this Federal here, a normal Federal, or not Federal, a normal full metal jacket has a little bit of a yaw as it flies through the air, and then when it hits a soft target like your enemy combatant or whoever, it tends to tumble, and that's good because it causes more damage on target. But if you're trying to punch through a hard barrier, that's not so good. So this steel core is meant to kind of stabilize that bullet and help this thing just kind of punch straight through. So I expect this will be the best ammunition we have in the 223 5.56 chambering. Moving on, we're also going to shoot just some of this Federal XM193F. This is basically just standard U.S. military 5.56 spec ammunition. That's a full metal jacket. So that's maybe representative of what a lot of people would be using. In the 7.62 by 39, we are just going to be shooting just standard military surplus, or just standard Wolf steel case ammunition. It's 122 grain. So I think a lot of people with AKs aren't going to go buy some exotic ammunition. They're just going to shoot the surplus and the cheap stuff, and that's really what the gun's designed for. So we'll just be shooting this. And just to represent maybe kind of some larger caliber stuff, we're also going to shoot some of the 7.62 by 54R. This is 147 grain full metal jacket, fairly representative of something like a 308, 30-06, any of the larger caliber guns. So let's get to it. So this is what we're going to be shooting at. This is just some stacks of plywood that I saved from a home improvement project this summer. So what we have here, we have 6 panels, and these panels are comprised of about an inch of plywood and then 2 1/8 inch wood paneling sheets. So we've got a good solid, probably 7 inches of plywood here, and so it should be a good test. And I don't think anything will make it through. Maybe it will. I really don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, which should make it a fun test. Alright guys, so the test weapon for the 22 is just going to be the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 MOE edition. Very cool gun. And so a 16-inch barrel, and the test range for this is going to be right about 20 feet. So let's get to it. There we go, our 3 hits. I purposely spaced them out a little bit. I didn't want them all like right on top of each other. So 3 good hits into a solid wood. Let's see. Penetrated the first board. looks like one of them may have made it into the third board. But yep, so penetrated the first board, 2 of them stopped in the second, and 1 ended up in the third. Alright guys, so first up in the 223 lineup is going to be this Tula 55 grain, and the test weapon is going to be my 16-inch AR-15. Check out my build video on this if you're curious exactly what's on here. So test distance right around 20 feet. So let's set this up and get to it. Alright, so there's my 3 hits. That's nice. They're not too close, so it's not going to screw up the test. So obviously they made it through the first board. There's the entrance on the second. Made it through the second board. There's your entrances on the third. Made it through the third board. There's your entrances on the fourth. 2 of them made it through the fourth board. There's your entrances on the fifth. Either that, or maybe that one's made it through, is just tumbling. Alright, there's your entrance on the sixth. There's your exit wound. So made it clean through. So those 223s, just standard cheap ammunition, made it through all 6 of these fairly heavy duty plywood boards. Alright, so next up we're going to try some of this Hornady V-max 55 grain. Hopefully this won't penetrate quite as much as that standard full metal jacket we just saw. So test weapons still the same AR, still at the same 20 feet. Here we go for the V-max. We have our 3 entrances here, here, and there. So made it through the first board. Look at those entrances on the second board. This is the full metal jacket. Those are the V-max. Really, it's definitely expanding out. Alright. Next board, still going through, but definitely expanding. Oh. Okay, so I think they're stuck in the third board. They definitely blew out that. Although there's holes in the fourth. Yeah, so they stopped in the fourth board. So definitely less penetration than those full metal jackets. The full metal jackets went through all 6 layers. These ones seem to stop somewhere between the third and fourth board. Alright, so we already punched all the way through with those full metal jackets, but we did have one of them. It looked like it was probably tumbling as I went through. So next up we'll try this PMC x-tac steel core, 62 grain, a little bit heavier bullet. So maybe that'll do just a little bit better. Hopefully these will just be clean, nice holes. Here we go, much tighter group. 1, 2, 3. That bottom one right there was the V-max. So those are your 3 holes. So let's start peeling it back. Yep, 3 clean holes. I mean, look at it compared to that V-max entrance. Huge difference. Three clean holes. Oh, looks like it's tumbling. Definitely looks like we got some signs of tumbling going on there. Still going through though. And looks like, I can't tell if that's 2 holes or if that's all 3. Yeah, it looks like we have clean exits on the back. So I think all 3 of those definitely made it all the way through. Although they seem to tumble more than just the standard full metal jacket. So that's a little odd. But I guess that's one of those things you figure out when you do tests. Ballistics are sometimes a strange and wonderful thing. Alright guys, so next up is just going to be that Federal XM193. So this is just basically standard, you know, very basic full metal jacket 5.56 spec ammo. So let's get to it. See you. Alright, so it looks like we got our rounds in here. So basically in the similar spot as the Tula ammo. Punched all the way through. All the way through, no tumbling or anything. Looks like it's still just going clean. Huh. Interesting. So it's looking like that. Just standard full metal jacket ammo. Just punched straight through. Didn't look like it tumbled much or anything. Alright guys, so the test weapon for the 7.62 x 39 is actually going to be a Chinese SKS. So a very similar barrel length and everything to like an AK. Should launch the bullet pretty much the same. So just be shooting some of that Wolf ammo. Still 20 feet. Alright, so here we go. We are shooting a 30 caliber bullet now, so a little bit larger projectile. There's our 3 entrances. Punched through the first one pretty well. Blew a little bit larger hole. You tell those are the entrances on the 7.62 compared to like the 223. Definitely looks like they're tumbling. That's a pretty wicked cavity there. Wow. Blowing away a lot more material as they go. Those are your 7.62 x 39s compared to the 223s are just little holes. Interesting. Yep, kept going. Ooh, look at that. So it looks like on the back here, looks like only one of the AK rounds actually made it through. That's an interesting discovery. Alright guys, so test weapon for the 7.62 x 54R is going to be the Mosin Nagant. So nice long barrel on there, and still shooting from the same 20 feet. So this thing should really kind of do a nice large cavity, and I fully expect it to make it through all the layers. So let's shoot this one. Alright guys, so I saw a dirt kick up behind the target, so I'm pretty sure these made it all the way through. Very explosive. So there's your difference. 1, 2, 3. So entrance looks about the same as everything else. There you go. These 3 holes right there are going to be what we're looking at. Look at all the sawdust. That's funny. Made it through. Made it through. Made it through. Those 3 holes right there. Let's keep going. Clean through. And out the back. So they just went right through, didn't stop at all. And actually, this log right here that's holding up some of this, look at that. Just so happens that was what was behind it. They went through my backer and through this log, and then just kept on going. Alright guys, so I've rearranged these in order of least penetration to most penetration, and I think the results are kind of surprising. And you know, I really was happy with what this Hornady V-max did. If you want a good 2 to 3 round that should break up fairly quickly and more of a home defense situation where you don't want to punch through a bunch of stuff, I think that's a good round. 22, I think, you know, actually did a little bit better than I expected it to. So 22 is a solid performer. I was really surprised with this Wolf 7.62 by 39. I really thought this would make it all the way through. 1 round did make it through, but 2 rounds were stopped by those sheets of plywood. So that's surprising. Now, it did do a lot of damage as I went through. It was a violent performer. You know, I would not want to get hit by this. At the same time, it did make it all the way through. So I think there might be a little bit of a trade-off, especially with these two. The Hornady and the Wolf did the most damage, but they had the least penetration. So, you know, there's probably a kind of a trade-off there. You either get penetration and, you know, a nice little clean hole, or you get damage and you're kind of stopped shorter. The Tula, the PMC x-tac, and the Federal all made it through fairly clean. There was a little bit of tumbling in there, but they made it through. And obviously, like I think most people would predict, 7.62 by 54R. It's a larger caliber. It's more of a full rifle caliber. It did exceptionally well. It punched through everything. It was a breeze. It wasn't even struggling. You know, it punched through the log in the back, and you know, I saw it hit the hill in the background. So, very powerful cartridge. If you really want solid penetration, this is the way to go. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'd be happy to help you guys out. If you want to see more tests like this, or you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Everyone have a nice day.